Hi.
Welcome to Scripts and Giggles with Shoshana.
And Mani. I have something important to talk about.
Go on.
I cut my hair. By my hair, I mean my wig.
I was going to say your wig or your hair. I was going to say.
It's my hair. I went on my hair.
Is this the same wig you wore last week?
Yep.
Oh, it looks really nice.
Let me tell you about a very interesting story that happened to me.
Go on.
Last Sunday, I saw a TikTok of this guy and he said, this is how you cut layers into your hair.
Okay.
And I was like, I think the problem with this wig is that it's one length.
Yeah.
And I just need a bit more like face framing.
Yeah.
Layers.
For reference, the old wig was like definitely like a lot longer. It's like
22 inches.
What?
Let me finish my story.
God. Okay, go on, continue.
So I've gone home, put the wig on my wig head, and gone, I'm going to cut layers into this wig.
Yeah. What was your initial desired length in terms of inches to take off?
I wasn't thinking about that.
Okay. Okay.
That might have been smart.
Okay.
I wasn't thinking about it. I was just like eyeing it up. It was everything you're not supposed to do.
Okay, great.
But actually, I was like making sure that I'm cutting every
section
the
same. Okay.
So the back looked great.
Yeah.
The side looked great. I got to this side and I was like, cutting away.
Oh no.
And I was like, this side has ended up, like, I feel like I've cut more on this side than the other side, but there must be a good reason for it. I put the wig on and I had basically cut this section of the wig this short.
Oh my god.
And only, sorry, you can't see it, but I basically had cut to like chin length.
Yeah.
One half of the wig.
Oh god.
But only like the top left part. And it didn't match any of the rest of the wig.
Oh no.
And it was blunt as well. I couldn't even taper it. And I was like, oh my god.
What have I done?
I've ruined this.
Yeah.
And so that night I just stared at myself in the mirror and laughed for like 15 minutes because I was like, this is such a weird feeling because it's not my actual hair.
Yeah.
But also I'm like, why did I do that?
Yeah.
And as I was looking at it, I was like, if this was my real hair, I'd have to cut it all.
Everything. Yeah.
But I didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
I did not want to do that. I did not want to do that because I wanted to have long hair.
Yeah. So
I curled it all.
Okay.
And then I was like, nobody would notice. And Shoshana, when I tell you I stood in the mirror, I was like, you can see it. This has made literally maybe 20%.
I mean,
better.
from what I can see, everything looks fine.
This is not... This was here, though, is what I'm saying. It was just this bit that was there.
Yeah.
And it didn't blend. It was bad. And I was like, the only way to blend this is to cut all of it shorter.
Yeah.
And I don't want to spend another 2 hours trying to cut things into layers and find out I've made it even shorter.
Yeah.
So I was just like, right, I'm just going to get a new wig.
Oh my god.
I'm just going to get a new wig.
Yeah.
So this week I've not worn a wig because I've been at home.
Yeah.
So I washed my hair, I've been wearing it out. And then I was like I can't believe I'm ordering a new wig. Like, this is crazy. But I don't know, wigs don't grow.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking about it. And I was like, what if I just cut it into a bob?
Yeah.
What if I just cut it into a bob?
Yeah.
I was like, but I don't want a bob.
Yeah.
I don't want a bob. I don't want a bob.
I thought you were going to do that hairstyle like AJ do that black and green with...
I could have done it. I'm obviously not talented enough to cut a mullet. That's what I've learned. So then yesterday the new wig came.
Yeah.
Haven't tried it on.
Oh, okay.
This morning I was like, I need to go out quickly and I don't have time to like get this wig and make sure that the lace is right and all this stuff. So I put on my other wig. I put it on and I was like, no, it's still bad. Like, I know I haven't worn a wig, but it's still bad. I was like, I'm just going to cut it.
Yeah.
I'm just going to cut it into like a bob and see what happens. And the minute I cut it, I said, wow.
It looks really good. That's like...
She looks $1 million.
Yeah.
I felt renewed.
So why did you buy the new wig? Oh, is it
I bought the new wig before I cut this.
And it's a new wig of the length of your previous one. Okay, yeah, perfect. At least you have one of...
Because I was like, and here is the issue with working in a predominantly white workplace. I can't come into work with short hair next week and then long hair the week after.
I mean, it's got to the point where, why not?
Honestly, why not? You're right. But I just don't want to. I don't like
the change because you're gonna always get the double take. Like I saw you last week and you look a little different. Yeah.
I didn't want to hear it, but today I'm like, maybe I'll just have a bob for the rest of the.
It's winter. Why not?
Literally, it's winter. Why not?
Yeah.
Then it's winter. Why not have long hair? Because I'll keep my back warm.
That's true.
So I'm gonna try the wig on tomorrow and see how I feel. But right now, I'm kind of feeling this.
It's really cute. And did you put the curls in as well?
No, the curls were from last time.
Okay, wow. Yeah. So maybe, again, I think it's about perspective. Sometimes you need to give it some time. But to be honest, when it comes to hair, once it's going downhill, it's very hard to really unpick and resurrect it.
Just cut.
Just cut it.
Just cut. And honestly, I've learned, don't cut your... Listen.
Don't cut your own wig. Get someone to do it.
No, you can cut your own wig. The girlies do it on TikTok all the time.
Yeah.
You can't cut your... I can't cut my wig on a wig head. I have to put it on.
Oh, yeah, I think it's best, yeah, because you know how your head looks. The only thing that I think is best is only with the back.
The back, yeah.
I will say also...
yeah, the back, I don't know what this looks like. Probably incredible.
I think it's fine. It looks fine. It looks fine. No, I'm looking at it. But also, you need to have a desired length before you start cutting. And then also, your desired length, make it a little bit longer because you're going to cut a bit more than that.
All I wanted was like...
Yeah. Where was your desired length? What was your initial length that you wanted?
No, I didn't want to cut it. I was cutting layers into it. So I was like, it really was going to be the same length, but just slightly tapered.
Yeah.
That was it.
Wow. It's significantly different.
It's significantly
but
different.
I think it suits you. It's good.
It's significantly different, and I had the urge.
How the hell could you cut it that short? I'm thinking about it. I'm deep in it. And I still don't understand.
I don't understand. Listen, I can't tell you because I obviously was like, you cut. The guy was like, if I ever find you, he was like, when you're cutting layers, right? If you cut down, if you cut your hair when it's down, the top half, and it's all going back, the top half's going to be longer than the back, right? Because that hair's travelled all the way to the back.
True.
So if you pull it all to you, and it's on the wig head, and you cut it so it's all straight to you, it will have more of a like cascade when it comes down. I then do that, but per section.
Yeah.
And also, when I got to the top, I wasn't thinking about how I then just did a section like this.
Yeah.
And every other section had been... Like, you can't see. This is obviously very riveting for you guys. But I basically just took a circle at the dome, like the top of my head, and went, I'll make all of this one length.
Okay.
Which you can't do, because obviously some of that hair is on the right-hand side of your head, some of it's on the left, and then trying to cut to match each other is you're going to just end up cutting and cutting until you've cut it all off. So that was a lesson to me in being inspired by the devil.
Yeah.
I have to believe that the devil walked into the room that day, because when I tell you I felt so confident about it, and I had no reason to do this. It was just like,
the whim.
That looked fun, I want to do that.
Yeah. I put that, usually when that moment happens, I put it on my list, and then one day I'll go back to it and be like, you know what I really need to do? Cut this wig.
I really want to get good at cutting wigs though.
I
think a good cut takes your wig from a wig to like
a wig.
This looks like it grabs like this hairstyle's been made for you.
It goes from looking wiggy to a wig.
Yeah.
And also, but they do say when you cut in bobs, the best hair to cut bobs on is actually long hair.
Yes, because also they make the longer hair wigs fuller.
Yeah,
if you buy a bob wig, it's always
flat.
Thin.
And that's the thing, 'cause I prefer shorter hair. Even my braids, I've done like, I know it's not like the neatest, but I prefer it short now, and I feel like this is like my go-to braids now. But it's because I just prefer short hair. Always have. I just don't think long hair suits me as much as I like short hair. I think it just curves my big face.
And I feel like what you need is layers.
I do need layers.
And then you can have hair as long as you want.
Yeah, that is true. But anyway, that's our hair chat for today.
So that is what
the hair update.
That was why my thing was the power of the chop. Like I honestly I felt powerful this morning. I felt like a new woman. I was like, tomorrow I'm gonna go and do so much work. I'm gonna be like, hey everyone, and I'm gonna be like, your hair's different. I'll be like, I know. Typing furiously on my computer. I'm breaking into the mainframe.
Absolutely.
I am one with the machine.
Absolutely.
I'm coming into work to get my work done. No one better not compliment me, because I'll just be like, thanks.
So finished.
Send.
I'm so done. Should we move on to pop culture news then?
Yep.
Let's do it. I feel like this year we have been blessed with a number of tours, and in terms of celebrity tours that have really just been winning is the female singers. The female singers out here.
What men have been on tour this year?
Jonas Brothers.
Okay.
You seen? I keep on seeing every now and again videos of Justin Timberlake on tour, but he's in this like squeak.
No, people are
the squeaky shoes. It's just not working.
He's on a. We are witnessing the fall
decline,
of Justin Timberlake. Justin Timberlake.
Justin Timberlake
is done.
Yeah, he's really limbering. Yeah.
Yeah.
Usher's been on tour, but that's because it's been fire.
That has been
big. Yeah. Adele's been on tour. Oh, sorry, we're talking about men.
I did not know that.
Yeah, but Adele's been on tour. Taylor Swift. Oh no, she's not on tour. Sorry, she's in a residency.
Yeah.
Taylor Swift has been on tour, obviously. Beyonce has been on tour. Beyonce.
50 Cent's gonna be in London.
Are you gonna see him?
I actually really want to. I think it'll be really fun. And you know a lot of 50 Cent songs, so it'll be really fun. Also, Busta Rhymes is coming out as a special guest. I love Busta Rhymes. I think it'll just be a really fun night.
Yeah.
I'm trying to persuade a contingency.
When is it happening?
I can't remember. I have to look it up. But
I just feel like I know some of 50 Cent songs, but I don't know loads of them.
You probably know loads of them because a lot of his songs are bangers. Like, he's not one of those people where it's like he released one single and then five tracks on an album you never heard. You probably heard every single one because they were all released.
Yeah, true. Like when we talked about Usher.
Back in the olden days, you just released every single song.
Yeah.
Every song was made to be a single. It's not like now where you make one song as the single and the rest of the album is just you're going through your to-do list. I don't want to hear this.
No, I know.
Where are the bangers?
And we don't have bangers. We have TikTok sounds. Okay, as long as you can do 10 seconds of a really great sound, you're good. You're gravy.
Make me sway.
Make me harder.
I'm never gonna listen to that song.
No, I mean, then I realized it was a challenge where she's like pouring water on herself and twerking. I was like, wow. All you need is a sound, a challenge, and a dance, and you're gravy. So yeah. Another person who's just recently announced their tour and just started touring in London and the UK is Madonna. She's doing her celebration tour.
She's been postponed to now.
Oh yeah, it's been postponed due to some ill health. I think she has surgery as well.
She's 400 years old. So
yeah, and
it's really hard for her to get her limbs up on stage.
And you can tell. And they massively...
She's not even that old. She's
like 60, I know. But I don't know what it is, but she does like...
She has suddenly aged considerably.
Yeah. And she was advised massively by doctors not to go on tour. Being on tour is strenuous.
And think about it, 10 years ago, she was doing Hung Up.
Yeah.
She was doing Time Goes By So Slowly. And she was 50.
Yeah. Wait, is that when she did 4 minutes? Or that was the same album? Yeah. That was a great song.
That was after.
Was it? Okay.
But like that was
that era.
She was in her little bag.
It's true because the person I saw on stage, because there's been videos that come through, it's like I thought she was in her 70s, and I remember when she was performing at the Brits and she tripped over and like she slipped and she was wearing a cape and the cape got pushed back and she dropped and it was like deadly silent after it happened. Then she went back up and they brought her back up and she started dancing and I was like, that hurt. It's like when you're getting a bit older. Any fall is so vital.
Kids, the cocaine, leave it alone.
It's got nothing to do with the cocaine.
It's the cocaine. You party too hard.
No, she actually just fell. Like she was.
No, I'm saying overall, there is no reason why that woman should look as old as she looks all of a sudden. But leave it at home.
Yeah, but also
don't take the cocaine out. Do it at home.
As we know, and we alluded to it when we talked about plastic surgery. But when you do plastic surgery, it does. Inadvertently age you because she has done so much work on her face with a lot of fillers and a lot of stuff that actually she has ended up looking significantly older than she actually is, and so it's just I don't know, it was kind of it's a bit of a sad sight to see the tour because she isn't moving as the way she used to, and it's not expected because she's older. I know she said that she's inspired massively by the Rolling Stones because they're in their 80s and they're still touring.
They go on tours all the time.
I don't know. I mean, it's something about it, but you know, they just get the energy from the crowd and they can do it. But
cocaine.
No, I don't know.
Vitamin B.
Also, they're not doing like choreographed type of numbers. It's just them playing the guitar and jumping and dancing around on stage. Like, it's not.
That's hard.
I know it's hard, but it's just I don't think it's
That's why you need the coke.
God, we're not promoting any type of substance use or abuse on this podcast. But anyway, while she was performing, especially her most iconic song Vogue, her daughter Estere, who's 11 years old, was part of that number. Firstly, she was DJing, and secondly, she was doing some voguing, tens across the board.
She vogued the house down.
She did. She did.
God. Also, Bob the Drag Queen is part of the tour.
That was it. I saw him. Yeah, he's in one of the really funny sketches.
You call it a sketch?
Who is a sketch? Have you ever watched the Black Lady sketch show?
Yeah,
that was
before.
That was one of the most funniest sketches.
One of the most funniest.
One of the funniest sketches on that show. It was actually really, really funny.
I'm tutoring my cousin at the moment, and so I'm having to really be like, this isn't a word.
Don't do this, okay? I'm not one of your students. If I want to mess up a word, it's for comedic effect. Anywho.
But you do read at a year 4 level.
No, I don't.
That's what I heard.
How dare you? From who?
I don't want to give away my
Anyway, we're going to move on. But I think because now people are seeing Estere on stage dancing, there is a very quick and easy comparison with other celebrity kids who have also been on stage and been part of their parents' tour, most recently with Blue Ivy. And there was a side-by-side comparison between the two, and it was just interesting to see the commentary about it.
What was the commentary?
That Estere ate and Blue Ivy didn't.
But Blue Ivy and what Estere and Blue Ivy are doing are completely different. Like,
that is very true.
I do not think it's fair to even compare them. It's redundant.
I think it's the eating in terms of energy.
But they're doing... Estere is performing as a solo performer, first of all.
Very true.
Blue Ivy's just out there to blend in with the other dancers. She's not come to eat. She would never came to eat. No. It's her mum's tour. She's never going to eat.
Yeah, I agree.
No one's ever going to be like, do you know who ate at Beyonce? Blue Ivy.
I'm not, perfectly honest. By this point, but now at the beginning, I think you could tell that there was some nerves in it. By the time she got to the final show, Blue Ivy was giving energy.
Giving energy is not
energy.
Eating, by the way.
Okay. I used eating because it felt like a right term given Estere's performance, and it was,
Estere ate, but Estere ate because Estere was performing. I don't think Blue Ivy performs yet. I don't think she's a performer.
But that's really interesting. That's so interesting.
She comes out and she dances with the dancers. So now she's a dancer, but she's not a performer. She doesn't command the room.
No. But
she's not a solo. She wasn't. It's not a solo. Maybe if it was a solo, you'd see that energy.
She does have a bit of. So after that, she comes out for that song. She does have to step forward because Beyonce goes backstage and probably changing for the next number, and so Blue Ivy goes in front of all the dancers and does a bit of a dance with. Okay, she's dancing with them.
What's the key word
she's
there?
Dancing with them, but she is positioned at the beginning and at the top where the focal point is her. And also when she comes out, there is a moment where they're almost kind of like, this is my skin folk. And then Blue Ivy comes out and it's supposed to make her give her that moment.
Right.
But I agree with you, she's not a performer.
Honey Balenciaga, who opens... That is a performance.
Yeah.
You're not going to compare what Blue Ivy does to that, right?
I don't want to. No.
Because she eats.
Yeah.
Honey eats. Blue Ivy doesn't eat.
No.
But that's okay.
That's fine, yeah.
She's gonna get there. She's on the starters. She's not on the main course yet.
Yeah. No, it's just interesting, this commentary again. It's not me that's like the commentary.
If you were to compare Honey to Estere, you'd be like, okay, Estere's doing a little cute routine.
Yeah.
But Honey would eat her up because she's been doing it for a long time. Exactly. So it's like, even you're comparing apples and oranges almost.
Yeah.
Like, it's a promising start.
Yeah, with Estere.
It's a promising
it's
start.
really like...
And we love to see a promising start.
She absolutely captivated.
She's got to stay away from the cocaine.
Stay away from the issues that happen on tour. I hope she's got this real safeguarding.
Because she's having her lessons.
Sure, 100%.
Because school is important.
Yeah. Because I'm telling you, there's so many...
You can't vogue in the bank. That's not going to get you no money.
No. I remember... I've watched so many music documentaries, and some of the most significant moments that has impacted a performer's career is on tour, because there's like the drugs, there's the lifestyle, the sex, like all these crazy things that happen on tour. So you just want to hope that everyone who is backstage is protected, or you're just protecting especially the young people that are there, because it can be quite a wild environment, especially when you're moving from place to place, and just all the influence that can happen in those spaces. But anyway, it was fun to see. It's nice that you bring your kinfolk, you bring your children on stage.
But like
setting them up for the next generation.
I think it's actually about the cost of living crisis. Like, they would have had an extra dancer, but they couldn't afford it, so you just start pulling from your family. I
just think it's just when a performer gets to a certain stage in their life, it's like almost not forcing the kids to go into that same industry, but it's setting them up in terms of like, this is the next generation, and there's that, but also these kids see their parents performing all the time, and they're like, I really want to be part of it, and so they're like, yeah, let me carve out a little part of my set for you to dance with your mum or dance with your family. Like, I think it's a really sweet thing. It's like bring your child to work day on a big ass stage every night for months.
Yikes.
Yeah.
I hope it's better than my bring your child to work day, in which I didn't go to work with anyone I was related to, but me and my friends all went to one of our friends' mum's workplace, and we pretended basically we were working on the Wall Street.
Oh my god, yeah, when you guys went to the bank?
Yeah.
Goodness me.
That was fun, but it also was just like a very defining point for me, where I was like, I don't care about money.
Yeah, I think because it was very interesting, because I noticed that after that trip, it confirmed a couple of things. Like, you didn't want to do that. Our girly friend who ended up going into finance was like, yeah, I want to do this and she was very clear, like, I'm only doing this for
the like chaos and the shout.
Yeah.
I was like, this is not for me.
And I think she did say, like, I'm doing this for the money. And then our other girly friend also went and did it for a bit and then decided peace out.
Yeah, and our other friend was like, yeah, I like wearing the smart clothes. And I was like, look, I also liked wearing the smart clothes, but I think my main issue is no one could explain to me what stocks or shares was. Yeah. Like, how is this valued? Yeah. It's like, oh, we just, it goes up and down. It's like, how does it go up and down? I didn't get it. And to this day, I don't even know if I really still get it. I did economics at sixth form and failed, so that tells you everything. Like, I'm just not, it's just, my brain is not wired to understand something as both important and trivial as money. Yeah. So I hope that my partner knows something about it, otherwise we're thugged. But as long as I have money to like go to shop and buy nice food clothes and buy nice clothes, I'm not fussed.
No, I think it's a really interesting industry. It's just I've never had this. I was never pulled to that industry. No, and also then when you hear like when we become adults and you hear like they're working 14 hours a day, you're like, no, I'm good. I'm really good. Like,
maybe I'm just lazy.
Yeah, it's all no, but I mean, don't get me wrong. I have days when I'm working incredibly long hours out of my own choice, not because I have to, but because I really I want to finish something up. But I'm also interested in what I'm doing versus like I'm just watching the screen go up and down. Like, it's no desire to me, and the environment, similar to being on tour, is hard and toxic and drugs.
Party hard.
Yeah, I mean, what industry? I think industry I don't think industry is far off what the industry looks like.
Watch Margin Call.
What's that? What channel was that?
It's a film.
Yeah.
With Zachary Quinto as Stanley Tucci.
Oh, nice.
And Penn Badgley.
Nice.
And it's about the exact moment where a bank realises that like the financial crisis is about to happen in 2011. Was it? Or before then, 2005?
I think it was before. We were at university when it happened.
I thought we were at school. No. When did the
or maybe we were just before
credit crunch happen?
2009.
Anyway, yeah, so yeah, maybe around that time.
Yeah. I just remember that we were kind of lucky that we didn't graduate around the time it was happening.
Yeah, but I remember it being in the news all the time, and like as a child being like, this is something we're supposed to be worried about. I don't know why.
Yeah,
like I don't have a mortgage or anything,
yeah.
but like I know that adults are really worried about this.
Yeah.
I guess that's what the film is about. It's set in the US and it's very gripping.
Okay.
Oh, and Kevin Spacey's in it, but
yeah. Anywho, we're going to move on from one performance to another as we are going to review Champion from BBC. So,
Champion
to the world.
Champion to your girl.
I can't remember the rest of the lyrics.
Please. Champion is a show on the BBC. It's a drama about a family of musicians.
Yeah.
Ostensibly. It revolves, or at least it starts with Bosco Champion, who is a rapper. Artist.
Grime?
Rapster.
Wow.
You
can tell people who don't listen to that kind of music.
Oh, grow up. Because I've been in these streets.
Fam, I'm from these streets.
I've been in these streets.
From ends, man.
He has just come out of prison for possession of a
firearm.
There we go. And everyone's like, great, time to get back to work. You can start rapping again, make money, we need this. And actually Bosco's not in a great way because he's been in prison. And apparently prison can be kind of scary.
Yeah.
And he has as the series goes on, you realise he's got PTSD.
Yeah.
His family don't seem that concerned, if I'm being honest.
No.
About the fact that he's not okay. Partly because, black people in their relationship with mental health that's not a real thing. He's fine. And then
pray away.
Pray about it. They actually don't suggest that. This is the first time that's not been suggested.
No, yeah.
His dad, when he's slumped on the floor, always crying, just goes up to him and yells in his face to be a man. So that tells you where we're at socially. Where the characters of this show are in terms of their relationship with mental health. And even Bosco, to an extent, isn't quite sure what's happening to him.
No.
He has a daughter with his childhood sweetheart who has moved on. She's now with a man called Mark, who is Bosco's love rival.
Yeah.
But he's also he also manages Bosco's musical rival, who is this guy called Buller. And Mark hears Bosco's sister Vita singing and invites her to the studio to sing a hook for Buller's new song. And it goes well, and so he's like, why don't you become an artist? Because according to Champion, and that was one of my issues with the show, becoming a musician is super easy.
Oh yeah, come on. Like, being a musician is like being a writer. It's like being in any type of creative field. It don't just happen overnight.
It's super easy.
Yeah.
Vita sings one hook. Vita, who has never sung publicly, is overheard singing, so she gets pulled in to sing a hook. Oh no, that's not how it happens. Her friend is supposed to sing the hook, so she comes with her friend. She obviously outshines her friend because Vita's so talented. So they give the entire hook to Vita and blow Honey off, basically. Yeah. Then he's like, oh, you should come in and record your own song. So go from backing artist to solo artist.
It's not impossible.
A day.
Yeah, I mean that is
everything. Also, everything on the show happens tomorrow.
So, yeah, it's true. I mean, one thing about Vita, which I found quite interesting, and how they set up the show, was that Vita was Bosco's ghostwriter. So Bosco would be doing the raps, but Vita is a talented songwriter who would write his lines for him, and she's always been put in the back burner in a sense, kind of like the talent behind the scenes. So her moving to become this backing artist or backing singer is like her opportunity to shine for once in her life, because her parents didn't really look at her that way. But then you're right, everything was so quick. I was losing track of time because at one point it was like, has this all happened in the space of a week? Because
I had the same thought.
Yeah.
So Vita is now singing on Buller's song causes an issue with her and Bosco, and the rest of the season becomes her and Bosco essentially estranged. Vita trying to follow her dreams, which always seem to inadvertently ruin someone else's dreams.
Yeah.
And then Bosco muddling his way through his comeback, and making lots of enemies along the way. And the series culminates in Bosco's dad, Beres, bizarre name, Beres, organising with his label head to have him sectioned so that he can't perform his music anymore without making the money. So that's the brief overview of the show. There's also a storyline where they find out his dad has a kid in Jamaica. Which...
So, honestly, to me, I was just like, okay, cool. They have an other sibling. Unless that sibling's coming back for series 2 to make havoc and be like, give me my money.
I did like Junior though, so I hope they bring him back.
Yeah, it's sweet, but I just didn't get that.
When he said to their dad, "This is the last time you're going to set foot in this house," I was like, this is everybody's fantasy of saying to their deadbeat dad.
Oh yeah.
To be able to say, I have everything and you have nothing. Get out of my house.
True.
Is sickening.
It's true. The series was created by Candice Carty-Williams, who is a famous author for a number of different titles called books.
One book, Queenie.
I've actually written other books.
She has a second book, so I don't know if it's out yet.
Okay, yeah. Most famous for her first book called Queenie. Have you read it?
No, but it's about to come out.
Oh, a show's also going to come out with that.
But I remember I met Candice Carty-Williams really, really early on in my career.
Really? Yeah.
She got her start through Creative Access, which is a charity organisation that puts people of colour in creative industries. Wow. And she came to my induction as an alumni to talk about it.
That's really cool.
And at the time, she had just finished writing Queenie.
That's incredible, yeah.
And then 2 years later, I'm in my TV job and I see that Queenie has come out and I contact her agent, who happened to be in the same building on the same floor as me. Yeah. And I was like, please, are the rights available? I'd love to read it. And she was like, Universal already bought them.
Crap.
I said, damn.
What channels
that would have been
up?
such a lovely
full circle
moment.
UK must I'm really excited to see.
It's a co-pro. It wasn't a co-pro initially, so who's
the producer?
Universal.
Okay, so actually Universal. So maybe it'll come out on Peacock or something like that.
Yeah. I think it's Universal. Was it MGM? Or someone that you were like, how the hell do they even know about this? So I have been
keeping your eyes out,
following her for a while, and yes,
it's interesting to see that this is the direction she's taken in her career. I know she's still writing, but now moving that from books to book adaptations to now moving on to TV shows. So it's really interesting. I wonder if this show, if it was written as a book, would it have the same potential concerns that we've had with other shows where the author is heavily controlled or heavily involved with the script.
So a bit of development tea.
Yeah.
Candice talked about this on a podcast that she was on. The idea for Champion came from the production company. Okay. They had in fact written a script for it. I'm curious as to whether they hired a writer to write the script and then got rid of that writer, or if they, the producer had written the script, because that's not heard of.
It's unheard of.
No, I wouldn't. I would never write a whole script for an idea to bring a writer on. Why would I have written it if you were going to come and write it?
That's true.
She came on. She said, I'll do it, but I want to change everything about it.
Okay.
These are her words. She writes episode 1, I think, and that's it.
Interesting.
There are a couple of writers on the show that I have worked with or am working with. Okay. And a director or two who I've met. So actually, it kind of feels weird. It kind of feels like you're watching the school play where you know a couple of people in it. Yeah. There've been shows that have come out that I've either read the scripts before or I know the people behind it, but this feels like the most the show that I'm been the most tangentially linked to, which is really interesting. And if you know anything about this industry, which you might not, every black person is developing a music show. So every black person who's developing a music show has had their music show turned down because of Champions. I think everybody was waiting with bated breath to see whether it would live up to the hype. And
thoughts?
What's really interesting to me is that it's not realistic about music at all.
No.
And I think that's fine, actually. Yeah. Because there's so much musical performance in it. It's a musical rather than a show about music, if that makes sense.
I mean, I see that to an extent. I would say that it is definitely a musically infused type of show. But it's not like that other show, BBC show, what's the name? And they've got
Mood.
It's not like Mood. Because Mood was, to me, a musical as a series.
But Mood had less music in it.
Yeah, it did. It did.
This show has at least 2 performances an episode.
Yeah, no, that's true. It has performances, but I would say with Mood, it was like the music was driving the narrative forward. Whereas
the music actually wasn't driving the narrative forward.
No, in their head they wanted it to, but I don't.
Yeah.
Because of the way the music was positioned.
But I don't think you can do. I totally understand what you're saying. And I also think, though, it's impossible to do a show with music in it where the music isn't commenting on the story.
That's
Because even
true.
in this, like, you're right, it's not like a musical where she's singing a song and the song is conveying how she... But equally, the song is conveying how she feels.
Yeah,
because
that's true.
That's why they decided to put that performance in at that moment in time.
Yeah.
So,
but the thing is the way maybe the performances were, and because you didn't
they
have...
were literally performances.
They were performances. Like, you didn't have, like, dance numbers where people are, like, down the street. We're just starting to do, a bit of a group dance with, like, Mood. So, I think in that aspect, I actually enjoyed Champion a bit more because it felt like, okay, I'm watching a performance. And the music was actually really nice, actually. I didn't have a problem with most of the music.
The music was good. I didn't love the amount of performances, personally.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe the problem was... I think the problem was, in order to have a performance or 2 performances every episode, they were accelerating through this person's musical journey in a way. It's like, well, it would have been nice to see her do X. It would have been nice to see her do Y. But we have to have her... Like, in the Jamaica episode, you've gone to bury your granddad.
Yeah.
And it would have been nice if those performances felt a bit more... I don't know... private or I don't know, just something that felt for once like, because I don't think they're a musical family.
No, however much
they're a family that do music, but they are not a musical family.
Because you don't get that much. I'm perfectly honest. You don't at any point see all the family singing together.
That's the only way. But you know what I mean? Like, it's never just like casually singing in the house.
The music is just like playing in the background, and it's just like part of their family.
She's never liked exactly. Or she's never liked her mum. Like, oh, I'm stuck on this line. Like, if your mum was a musician, your brother's a musician, I feel like you guys would talk about music a bit more.
I think a lot of the talk about music was more about business. Like, what is Bosco doing to bring money to the family so that we can run the restaurant, or so that we can keep the Champion name alive? You know, it was a lot of that.
Yeah. So it would have been nice in that Jamaica episode to see like a different type of performance.
It's actually, sorry to jump in, I was going through TikTok again, the bane of my existence sometimes, and I saw that it was the most random TikTok where someone was like, how a Jamaican funeral becomes like a party, and they were just, you know, it's, and especially like I would say even like religious or African type of like funerals where it becomes like you're worshipping God and you're thanking God and you're singing and just dancing, and you're like, but this is supposed to be a funeral. And they kind of showed the person kind of did the video and pan the hall, and you're like, wow, and it's just music and it's just them just dancing and singing, and I was like, okay, this is supposed to be a funeral, but you know, we're in this like Jamaican party type of thing. And so that's what when you said that, it kind of reminded me of that kind of idea that you can have this intimate moment that's honouring a very serious moment in their family, but use music in that way to show like they're still united. Yeah,
that would have been a really, really lovely
touch to it.
Yeah, and great to centre the episode around that, because it felt, and this is how I felt about the series as a whole actually, that it was a little bit disconnected. Like, some of the storylines just felt very disconnected. And so in that Jamaica episode, they're there for the funeral, but Vita also needs to let her hair down. So Junior takes her out to a party, which I think that felt natural. We're going to a party, there's someone performing, Vita, get on stage. Again, I don't know if you guys know, but musicians go to see other musicians perform all the time, and they don't get on stage and sing a song. So I was already like, this only happens on TV, but fine, I'll allow it. And then that woman calls her, the manager, and is like, if you want to show that you're serious, I've got you a performance tomorrow at this guy. And I said, this person's here to bury her granddad, and you're expecting her to put on outfit, makeup, go and dance on the stage. Like, what is happening? Why does everything have to happen so quickly as well? So they have this second performance. She brings Junior on, they perform, and I'd forgotten about the funeral. Yeah. And then all of a sudden it's she's wearing a black dress, backless dress, by the way. I said, to a funeral? It's so funny.
You watched this more recently because I can't remember that backless dress.
It's so funny the things that like I decide to be conservative about. But one of the things that I think is just highly inappropriate is having your back out at church. I don't understand why I can see all the way down your spine.
Yeah, true.
We are in church. And maybe that's just me because I grew up in a cold country and you wouldn't usually back out. Be dressed like that. But whenever I see outfits and I'm just like, so where are you going? Yeah. Surely not to church.
And then you see them walking right behind you as you're walking into church,
Wearing 5, 6, 7 inch heels to church.
Yeah, I do always wonder.
What church do you go to?
Yeah.
Not my church.
You don't want to judge because...
No, only God can.
Only God should judge. What was it called? Something, cast the first stone.
Like he was out sin.
Cast the first stone. But, I don't know, I actually, Jamaica episode was actually one of my favourites because it was
really well directed.
It's
really well directed.
It's really well directed.
I honestly thought
it was,
and I actually had that thought about the series as a whole. It's like, if you want, and this is such an industry thing that you will relate to, if you're making a mood board, your people will be pulling pics from Champion going forward because it looks very aesthetically pleasing.
Everyone looked beautiful.
That Jamaica episode looked nice.
It looked rich, and it also felt authentic as well. Like it gave you colour and brightness and warmth, and that's one thing about some of these some of the shows, especially with predominantly black cast. And I see this as well when I'm working on shows from a marketing perspective. Is I'm so on it when it comes to how black people are presented on artwork and on creative, because I don't want them to look ashy. I always remember when Beyonce says, you can't put blue on a black person because they'll look ashy. I don't agree with that necessarily, but I remember her saying that she was on tour and they were trying to do lighting for the stage, and she was like, I don't want them to put blue on there. I'm going to look like I'm black. You can't make me look like that. But I'm always on that because you can tell when the photography is not giving and is not highlighting the vibrancy of a black cast skin. And that was a key thing that I know a lot of black creators have talked about, how they even think about how the cinematography of a show, or how things have to change sometimes to adjust to your black cast. But you go. So I got to that episode and I thought, one, this is a really beautifully directed episode, but also I realised what this episode sort of encapsulates about this series, which is there are so many stills that you could take from this. Yeah. But going back to what I was saying about the storylines are disconnected. So you've got Vita's music thing going on in that episode. You've got Vita's mum. Yeah. And her dad, Beres, are kind of still into each other, and they hook up. But she's with someone who's just asked her to marry her, but she didn't want to marry him, and I couldn't work. I feel I guess the reason why she was hesitant is because she still loves Beres. Yes. But they got back together, didn't they?
Yeah, because she lied and said she didn't hook up with him.
Yeah, true. That will come out in series 2.
And then you find out, in fact, Junior is Beres' son. And then also hanging over all of this is Bosco wasn't allowed to come to the funeral. Yeah. Because the dad decided he wasn't fit enough to. He's been misbehaving, so he should stay in London. That to me is such a big thing, emotionally for a family. And you come into the next episode and it's nothing. No. It's not anything.
No one talks about it. You don't really hear about the funeral after. I mean, apart from how was it?
Yeah. Let me see the will. That's it. Dropped.
That's it.
But the most significant example of that is Bosco and Mehmet, who I can't believe we haven't spoken about Mehmet.
Yeah, I was going to talk about Mehmet as well.
Bosco and his best friend Mehmet, who is a DJ, and who he works with get in a car accident at the end of 3, I think, or 4. Open 5, they're just driving home.
Fam! That's my biggest thing. I was like,
what the hell?
The way that accident looks, they should be dead.
They should be dead. Or the bones broken.
Or to be, at least one of them should be. I think Mehmet should have died. Vita be like, no. So, for context, Mehmet and Vita are in a secret relationship. But I think...
Again, for drama only.
For drama only, because they're like,
we can't tell Bosco's he's gonna be mad.
Yeah, but
because you're his best friend, I'm his sister.
Yeah, but okay, but perfectly honest, if Mehmet had died, Vita could come and their affair, the relationship would have been revealed, and it would cause a bit more tension between the siblings. I'd be like, okay, there's a bit more story if you had that.
That's always my problem about a secret relationship. We're drawing this out for.
Because
we're holding on to this so we can explode it at a time.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's like, by the time it exploded, they weren't even together anymore. No,
that was when it was less useful.
Yeah, exactly. The tension is lost, right? Because what you want is, these two are in love, but they're keeping it a secret. When it blows up, Bosco says to them, either you two stop dating.
It's me or him. Yeah. I mean, one of the best...
And now there's a decision to make.
Yeah, exactly. One of my favourite, big, secret relationships that come and explodes and is being revealed. It's like Friends, with Monica and Chandler. I know it wasn't a big ultimatum, but it was actually so funny the way that they built that up for episodes, and then everything got revealed and it was all funny, and then Ross was not happy, but then at the end he's like, no, my best friend and my sister, it makes so much sense that you guys get together, and it just worked in that sense because you had built the tension enough and they were always together, and they made it clear oh, actually we love each other, and that was your ultimate end goal with that.
Yeah, to me,
the Mehmet and this one, it didn't have anything else going for it for me.
The thing about a secret relationship is you start it off this isn't anything, right?
Yeah, this is nothing.
It's
nothing. Just fun.
This is how Chuck and Blair start in Gossip Girl. Yeah. They hook up, nobody needs to know about this. Yeah. They keep hooking up, nobody needs to know about this. At the point where you start to catch feelings is when people are going to find out. Or that's when you need people to go and find out. Because that's when you test this thing. Yeah. Is it really just a silly little fling that we did because we like secrets and now it's out, we don't want to be with each other anymore? Or is it going to be I actually like him? Yeah. I'm playing it off it was nothing, it was just a secret, but actually I like him, so now what? There was none of that because they had already broken up. She'd already slept with someone, she was already with someone else. It just felt why hold on to that storyline for so long? Why not blow it up earlier?
I think it was more just a tick box, are we going to have a relationship, an interracial relationship, tick.
I don't think it was that.
Okay, that was a very simplistic way of saying it, but just we want to create even more tension between Bosco and Vita. I think that was it for me.
Yeah, no, it was definitely to create tension between Bosco and Vita, but I feel even where they're at by the end, he goes to kiss her.
Yeah.
And then they both are gonna go, and then they're oh no, Bosco's here, and he's listen, I don't mind, you guys do you. So it's he's giving them their blessing, so they're gonna get back together again. But it's but the way you've built this up is so weird because they were together, they break up, this girlie starts hitting on him, so then she decides to sleep with someone else, she gets in a relationship with that person, then she randomly decides, I don't like him.
I mean, he was a bit controlling.
He was awful.
Yeah.
She was I don't like him. At the exact moment where he has all of her music. Again, everything that happened in the show was so this is the worst time to do this, but I'm gonna do it. Yeah. And then she's I love Mehmet again. None of them, they didn't have to work for that.
There's no tension.
They didn't have to work for that at all.
Because perfectly honest, between the time when she broke up with that guy and then her seeing Mehmet, it was
literally 10 minutes.
I was
it was the same episode.
Because I remember thinking I think they hadn't connected this whole time. So how has it always been it's always been you? It's always been you, Mehmet. I'm really?
I mean, we don't know how long they were together before.
No, 2 days. The way the timeline of the show is.
We did not know how long they were together before. No. Before. They've also known each other for a long time. I get it. They are probably in love with each other. They are probably each other's endgame. I get that. But I just felt actually, in story terms, you blow that up at the point where the relationship means the most to them. There's no point blowing it up when they're not together anymore. What does that mean? Yeah. And when they're fighting, it's okay.
Because actually, does
I don't care.
When does Bosco find out? Is it just for the car accident?
7. No. It's episode 6 or 7. She's with the other guy.
And that's how we find. Yeah.
It's when she sings the mum song, which now again a perfect example of.
Yes.
Person should have a conversation with. She literally, and this one, the storytelling is so paint by numbers because it's like earlier in the episode, she says to Honey, "I found out my mum's a singer. I haven't had a chance to talk to her about it." That is the extent of that conversation. The next thing you know, I'm doing a fashion show and I'm going to sing my mum's song in front of my mum because that will make her happy. I've connected these dots based on nothing because I haven't spoken to her. She gets up there, she sings the song, the mum walks out, she's like, "Why would my mum do that?" Comes out, she's like, "You're jealous of me." I'm like, the way you're handling this is crazy to me.
Yeah.
You just found out that I used to sing. I've been your mum for how long and I've never mentioned that. Maybe there's a reason I might not want to hear my song sung back to me. Vita doesn't think for a second.
Let me have a quick chat with my mum.
Let me have a conversation with my mum before I do this.
Let me at least give her a heads up before I start singing that I'm going to be singing her song.
Let me ask my dad. Let me ask her husband. Like her husband. Let me just ask anybody else for advice. She said, no. This is a great idea. I'm going to do it. The other thing she does in order to do this. Yeah, so she does that. It blows up in her face. I was like, of course this was going to blow up in your face. Also, you are so stupid.
Also, the big thing is, before you start singing someone's song, you need to even get the music. You need to get the stems, you need to get the lyrics, you need to get something. But you need to have it at least coordinated with the person who owns the song.
Bear in mind, earlier in the episode, the fashion show girlie says to her, "I've made you a dress." She just comes into her workplace and she's like, "I've made you a dress." Vita's like, "What for?" She's like, "Because you're gonna sing at my fashion show tomorrow and I'm telling you today." I said, this show's unhinged. In what universe are you doing a fashion show tomorrow and you're booking the artist today?
I didn't even know she had the fashion show going. Wasn't she just sewing some clothes?
I didn't even know she was a fashion designer. She showed. Imagine my surprise. I said, "Isn't that the Honey's ex-girlfriend? What's going on? What's going on?" And she had the audacity to be like, "You're my friend. You're supposed to show up for me."
Huh? I've got a deal. I need to sing in terms of the showcase so that I can get a US management.
I watched this episode and I said, I love my friends.
Yeah, because we wouldn't do that
for each other. I would die for these girls. But if you said to me,
"You're going to come sing in my show tomorrow," you bet.
To my workplace tomorrow and deliver a presentation on your slate, I would say, "Excuse me? Do you not think I have a job, bruv? Where did you get the idea that I could just get up and walk into your workplace?"
The thing is, the joke is, there are people out there like that. There are people out there like that. There are people like that. And I'll be honest, I've been trying to cut them out of my life. Because if there are people out there who have no respect for your time, they should not be in your life.
Also, if we're boys as well.
Yeah.
How have you been planning a fashion show? And I'm only hearing about it today.
Exactly.
What are you talking about?
I'm not, but the thing is, I think there are people like that really exist that literally like this.
That's what I need. The show is just nuts. Yeah. Because, what, like you said, even if you're my friend and you're just mad disorganized or mad, like you just feel like everything will fall into place, you're not fast. How do you think I'm going to prepare a performance in a day?
But you're a singer, right? So you have songs just like off the dome. Start singing, Mike.
And also, she's walking in the fashion show. That's the thing. She's walking in the fashion show as she's singing. There are so many parts of this that's just like, you are trying to make this as difficult for me as possible. Meanwhile, she's supposed to be going to a showcase to sing for American label. She said, "I'm not doing that. I'm not about that corporate life." I said, who on this planet decides what I want to do is music, but I only want to blow up specifically in London.
South London.
I don't want to be known globally. I don't even want to be known nationally. I only want people to see me on the street in London, specifically Lewisham, and know me. And that's it. That's when I was like, what does this girl actually want? Because it can't be to make music. Because this is part of it.
I think she just wants to live the life that she's been living for the past 2 weeks.
I'm quite enjoying this making music.
I'm liking it. I think basically what will end up happening is she's going to go back to Bosco and write music for him.
Of course. Of course.
Champions
she's going to get back with Mehmet and she's going to go back to being a Bosco writer.
Nothing's changed between episode 1 and 8.
That's exactly what I thought was... I was like, the way they've set this up... This girl has performed nearly 8 times in the series. The days for her to perform big performance, she's having hyperventilation, she can't sing. I said, what is going on? We've seen you perform. We've seen you just someone pull you on stage, and you just off the top of your head sung the world's greatest song, and you can't sing a song that you prepared to sing.
But I'm not ready anymore. I'm not.
But Laurent took all my music. I wanted to punch her in the face. Why would you? I'm telling you, Vita made me mad. I was like, Vita doesn't have a single brain cell in her head. Vita is the dumbest bitch I've ever met. And I mean that in a nice way. You are a dumb bitch because why are you sleeping with the man that's making your music? Yeah, and the day before you need the music, he's like, I don't want to be with you anymore. Use your brain. Yeah. If you waited even 24 hours, we would not be in this situation. And not only did you say, I don't want to be with you, you couldn't even let him down gently. He's like, oh, so I shouldn't come tomorrow? She was just like, silent, didn't even respond. He was like, okay, then you're not having my music. He was a prick. I'm not going to lie, he was a prick. He absolutely deserved it.
But you could see that he was. So you should have tactically got your music, got your masters, and how do you know about this industry?
That's what I'm saying. And that's what didn't make sense. Her brother has been a musician for how long? And everything that happens to her, she's like, what? What are you talking about? That was what was boggling my mind for the whole thing.
There was they're definitely trying to position her as like naive.
But you've been ghostwriting with your brother for how long? Your entire family revolves around your brother. So how did you not know that's what the industry's like?
Yeah,
how did you not know that?
It's so predictable. The storyline is quite predictable, in my opinion, in terms of like the way the music industry is presented. And
I feel like maybe they could have. Sorry, to cut you up. I was like, maybe they should have said that Bosco wasn't this big artist. No. He had one song and he went to prison.
Yeah, so the underground artist trying to get his name in the world.
Yeah.
And then
maybe I would have understood why she wasn't expecting all these things to happen when she blew. But they're saying this guy was doing sold out shows, this, that and the other. And you've been ghostwriting for him for years. So how are you unaware of the fact that you probably shouldn't sleep with the person who makes your music? And if you are sleeping with the person who makes your music, you better get your music before you do anything with him. Yeah. Why would you go get managed by the guy who's your brother's baby mum's new boyfriend? You know that there's an element of, I'm trying to get at your brother by going and signing with this person. She never thinks.
No, but even if she was thinking about it, she always positioned herself like, oh no, I didn't know. Oh.
She doesn't ever think, and she was really starting to wind me up. At the beginning, I was like, I'm backing Vita, because her family really don't give a heck about her. But as the series goes on, I'm like, maybe I get why they don't give a heck about you. You're annoying.
No, I felt like she became more and more selfish as time went on. And I was just like, you have to realise the mistakes / consequences of your actions, because it's going to impact every single person. It's going to impact Honey. It's going to impact Vita. It's going to impact your parents.
Not impact.
It's going to impact. It's going to impact. Everyone around you will impact. But yeah. So that's pretty much it. I have not even.
She didn't think about a single person that her behaviour impacted. No. She didn't think. Mehmet got in a car crash and they were still drunk. They was treating Mehmet like he was garbage.
It's true.
What the hell? This is your best friend.
Yeah, I don't.
Both of them are both Bosco and Vita are the worst people you've ever met in terms of like selfish.
They're very selfish, yeah. But
that's what I mean. They're the most selfish people.
But I think it's the whole idea. They're a bit entitled. I mean,
they're not a bit entitled. They're incredible. She was like, I can't believe he's taking my music. What's he talking about? What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Oh my gosh.
What are you talking about? When her friend stole her music book. Because she then had stolen the song that they made together, and even that, you're in a record studio to record a song, yeah. He says sing a song. Why would you sing the song that you know don't belong to you?
Yeah.
And then be like, honey, I didn't know he was gonna release the track. Also, even that, the timing of you recorded the track yesterday is out tomorrow. What are you talking about? What is happening? What is happening to a single music? And what's crazy? Honey is Ray Black. Yeah, Ray Black knows you're not putting tracks out every single day. She was hired as a music executive on the show. They just ignored her.
No,
I'm assuming they just ignored her.
But basically, after watching the season, they released the episode called "Making of" on the Making of's Champion. Making music, and I watched it, and you would be surprised. There were so many people from the music industry in the show. A lot of up and coming writers, songwriters, excuse me. And so it was really interesting to watch how they positioned each of the characters, how the lyrics really aligned to each of the characters' stories and narratives. So I was like, again, it doesn't. There was one girl who said, it took a bit of time to write this song. I was like, but how about on the show? It's like 2 minutes.
I think what happened is they obviously have told them it takes about this long to make a song.
Yeah.
It takes about this long to put on performance. And the producers have gone, well, we're not obviously going to wait for that. This is TV, we don't have time. Because I've been in conversations with producers who've been like, where the musician's been like, this is how long, like, getting a record deal takes this long, or it takes this long for, like, you couldn't just rock up to an event and give someone a record deal. And we were like,
Yeah, the thing...
But that's more dramatic.
Yeah, it's true. But also, you could just put a couple of slates and say 2 months later.
Oh,
3
no,
months...
that's ugly.
Why?
You can't tell your story through. If you have to keep saying it's 2 months later, it's 3 months later.
I mean...
You're not telling an interesting story.
No, I mean, okay, usually the best time that mechanic works is when it's like a big event happens and then you go slate 3 months before. And then
the rest of the series
is that. Yeah, I mean, that is when it's a bit more impactful or impactful. But I don't know. Yeah, you're right. None of it felt realistic. And I've watched a couple of music shows, and you're right. A lot of predominantly black casts are doing, if it's not estate shows, crime shows, it's music. And
what's an estate show?
We grew up in the yards.
Name an estate show that's
Top
not
Boy.
Top Boy.
That's not Top Boy.
That's not Top Boy. There's only one show.
No, I saw Attack the Block. It's a film, but
from almost 20 years ago.
Fine, they're coming back.
It came out in 2011.
Kidulthood.
Came out in 2008.
They're bringing a new one out.
Another Hood is not even connected to that. It's a comedy.
It's still part of the Hood.
It's actually not part of the Noel Clarke universe.
Okay.
Just tell the truth. Everybody, I'm tired of this.
You're right.
It's blasphemy.
Go
you
on.
only have Top Boy. Everyone will be like, every black show is Top Boy. Every black show is Top Boy.
But
name another Top Boy that's on TV right now. You can't because there isn't one.
No, okay, there isn't. No, but let's be honest and be real. A lot of predominantly black shows were around crime, gangs, and
name
hoods.
another one.
I'll find
Don't
some.
Google it. You should know it because you said it's a predominantly black show.
I've been to stop watching it. You don't know me.
Okay. Which is a crime show
Based in a South London estate.
Okay. But that's not really what the show's about, though, is it?
Okay, it's about crime and murder and gangs.
Well, it's specifically about a relationship.
Okay, but it still has the tropes of a
yeah,
gang
but every crime show has a tropes of crime in it.
Okay, sorry. Tropes of crime, gang, estate. And our white counterparts, they don't need to have the gang and the estate
How
area.
many white crime shows have you seen?
Quite a few.
Because they do have crime in them.
I'm not saying crime 100% is part of it, but I'm saying when it comes to predominantly black casts and predominantly black shows, the ones that seem to be getting on our TV screens are really related around crime.
Mine too, but go off. Because you also said Mood, which was not about crimes and gangs.
Music, because I said if it's not about crimes and gangs, it's going to be about music. Mood is one of them in the music category.
Richard is not about crimes or gangs or music.
Okay, it's okay. It's
Jimmy Wild's Back is not about gangs or crimes. I'm just saying people have to update.
Okay.
As times update. So I'm not saying that maybe 5 years ago you were wrong or right. But I'm saying that we've held on to this narrative for a long time, and actually right now, aside from Top Boy, there's nothing else on TV that's a predominantly black show that is like Top Boy.
Okay, I agree that things have changed, but there was a time. Let us be for real. There was a time when there was not many predominantly black shows on, and when they were on, the ones that were really getting through and the narratives that were getting through, it was around gangs and crime. And if it wasn't those two,
it's just Top Boy.
It's not just Top Boy. There's many. I just don't have the time. I'm perfectly honest. It got to a period where I just disengaged from this type of shows.
It's just Top Boy.
It's not just Top Boy.
It's just Top Boy. You know how I can say it's just Top Boy? Because since Top Boy came out, no one can make another show like Top Boy because it would be not made because of Top Boy.
Yes, I agree that.
And Top Boy came out in like 2017, by the way.
No, I mean when Top Boy went to the Netflix, because Top Boy on Channel 4 wasn't. I think there was other shows that were around the time that had that theme to it.
I don't think there were.
This is for a new series. We'll talk about it. We've got a couple of storylines that we need to go. A couple of themes that we want to cover. The white guys that dates black girls,
White boyfriends,
and then this one.
Okay.
Black shows that were focused on crime that were not Top Boy.
UK shows.
UK.
Yeah.
Okay, UK.
UK shows.
But in the same breath, let's also be real. In the UK space, there's not many predominantly black shows.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. The narrative has been every single black show has to be about gangs and crimes, but the truth is we only had one black show, and it was Top Boy. So that statement was true, but the sample size was one show, right? But actually now we have more shows than that show,
I agree.
and they are not estate gang shows.
Okay, I agree.
So the narrative of every single black show has to be a gang show hasn't been true for a while.
Okay, I'm not saying it has to be, but I'm saying there was a period in the landscape that it was. But you're right, things are definitely changing, and as we're getting more and more black writers, producers, creatives in the room, the narratives are changing because yes, you're right, we cannot keep on having Top Boys. It's not conducive to the culture. It was a great show for when it was. It's done amazingly well, but there are other narratives and other stories. I think the US has it pretty bad. And it's a very, very much a different story because you don't just add the crime and the gangs, you add the slavery on top of it. But we can move on.
But also the US has like Insecure, Rap Shit. It has a lot of other. It has a lot more TV.
Yeah, it does. It does. And my other point was actually going to be about Rap Shit because I can't say that word. I watched that show and I felt like out of Rap Shit and Champion, that the former had a more realistic view of what the music industry looks like. In terms of the struggle it is to get anywhere and how you have to hustle. I mean, don't get me wrong, the storylines were a bit wild, but you could tell they did start from nothing and they really were working their way, trying to find their identity, trying to figure things out in this industry that's pretty crazy. And I felt like because Estere, it's not like she comes from the world of music, but she's been doing things, dibbling and dabbling, having her own
music label.
She has her own music label with radio. You could tell that she understands a bit more about what the industry looks like behind the scenes, and some of that feels like it's reflected in a more authentic way in Rap Shit than they did in Champion.
I think that the problem, right, the difference between Rap Shit and Champion is that Rap Shit characters are at the beginning.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think the problem with Champion, and I think the tricky thing with telling musician stories is where you want to position them as not completely new to the industry, but not stars. Yeah. And so you end up putting them in this place where they are having all of these opportunities, but they have never released a song. Like, that was the thing that I was just trying to get my head around, which is she's never released music before. She releases one single, she gets a record deal, which happens to people sometimes. Yeah. And obviously, like you said, she's been writing for a long time, so it's not like she's green. But she's now she's getting covers, magazine covers. She's singing at award shows. She's doing this Back to Fly Rap. I was like, that doesn't happen that quickly. And because of the way you don't know what the timing of the show is, has it been a week or has it been 8 months? I'm not sure. It's not clear. No. And the show isn't interested in that either. No. I don't think the show is interested in telling you what it is really like to become an artist. I think what it's interested in, what it wants to use music as a catalyst for a family feud. Yeah. That's all it is. 100%, yeah. And that's why everything that happens in some way is impacted by or has an impact on Vita's personal life. Yeah. And so you find yourself just like being like, if you switch your brain off when it comes to music parts, this is a family drama that you can maybe enjoy. I think what was bumping up against it for me, if I'm being completely honest, is I did not care about this family unit. And I think the problem was we didn't have enough time with them as a family unit to feel the like, oh, they're being like this incredible unit is being drawn about. When you meet them in episode 1, I'm like, I don't think they really like each other. Yeah. Like, her mum and dad really don't care about Vita at all.
Yeah.
So I was just like, okay, why would you even want to be a part of this? And they keep saying the champion name, but actually, in reality, you do not see anything of a family or love or care or like. I think you need that stuff, because otherwise, where is the emotion in the decisions that you're making?
Yeah.
Like, if my parents don't care about me and someone is offering me exactly what I want, why would I think twice about choosing it? Whereas if I'm like, wow, I'm gonna miss my mum's new business opening, or I'm gonna let my brother down, or this, and I actually had a relationship with them where they've been there for me, you feel the tension of that, you feel the emotion of that. But for me, I just kept on thinking like, okay, I feel like this has been written so we can be like, but like, I don't buy that this family ever functioned as a family.
No,
so.
I
And
think...
also to get us to the point where the dad sections him for no reason. You guys have never been eating it.
I feel like you're supposed to follow Vita's story. You're not following the champion story. You're supposed to be supporting and vouching for Vita versus wanting to be part of the champions. I definitely saw that. It didn't make sense that it was supposed to be a family drama, or it's supposed to be about this dysfunctional family until a lot later.
Yeah, it's definitely Vita. It's like, come watch Vita v Bosco.
Yeah.
But like, weirdly, Bosco's not engaging in the versus really, and Bosco's more worried about what's going on between him and Bulla than what's going on between him and Vita. Like, it's not like him and Vita are putting music out at the same time. Like, that's what you would have wanted, right?
Yeah.
For this to really feel like a feud, I need to feel like I'm having opportunities taken away from me because of you. Whereas Bosco's career is only influenced by what's going on with Bulla.
Yeah.
Got nothing to do with Vita.
Yeah,
Even apart from that moment where, again, and this is what I mean, with Vita being just, to me, deliberately stupid for the sake of story, going into a record studio and telling someone she has no relationship up until that point, all of her business.
Yeah.
And she does that quite often in the show, and I was like, I feel like this is bad writing, because if you create a show, you put your character in situations where they're interacting with people different, and each of those interactions is different. The problem with Vita is she will deliver how she feels about any given situation to whoever is in front of her.
Yeah.
Whereas what you want is to see that, at least in public, Vita is champion. Behind closed doors, when she's speaking to Honey, maybe she's like, I mean, I do all this work and they don't respect me. So you'll see at least that there's like versions of Vita. She's not, you have to see all of them to get the full picture of her. Whereas in this, there's a point where she's sitting opposite her manager, and she's just like, the manager's like, you need to cut your family off if you want to do this, which, And then she's talking about, listen, it's not even like I really care about the champion name, it doesn't mean anything. But I was like, why are you running your mouth so much about your family? Who does? I would never just be outside telling people my whole family's real business.
I know. It's just...
And I think they just did that because they didn't know how else to convey
how she feels. And like, perfectly honest, you could have used that mechanic through her writing. She could be writing in a diary about her feelings about how much she hates her fammy. And
I hate my family.
And they'd be like, okay, I get you. But you didn't really need it to... There's a lot going on.
I just couldn't gauge... As a result, I couldn't then gauge her relationships with people. Because I was like, for you to share that... Like, I thought in that scene where she's like, I write all Bosco's music anyway, she knew Laurent like that.
Yeah.
Then afterwards, you're like... That's the first time she met him. I'm not going to spill my brother's biggest secret to a guy I met today in a record studio.
I think it's for the plot. Honestly, when you watch stuff on TikTok, you're like, why is this happening? Why are you doing certain things? I'm like, it's for the plot. And in this case, literally, 100%. It's for the plot.
It felt, that's what I mean, but that's what I meant when I said it. The story felt very paint by numbers because it's plot. Here is a thing I'm going to say so we can move the story forward. I didn't feel like, oh, yes, I know who Vita is. I know who she is in her soul. I know what she wants. I know the complexity of her. She wasn't very complex as a character. She was just like, I want to sing my song.
And the crazy thing is, like, you could have made that character so complex. And the whole idea of being like, I don't think she's not the eldest, because Bosco's eldest here. But the whole idea of being a daughter, a black daughter, in this environment where you're expected to do something, whereas your male counterpart, i.e. your brother, isn't. Like, there's so many different other aspects to her character that I wish they tapped into a bit more, but
Yeah, definitely. They missed a trick.
But I think on
that.
the whole thing what they show is that I think it's supposed to be like soft watching. Like it's supposed to be like a light view, like enjoyable. It's like on BBC One, wasn't it? Like it's supposed to be just like a.
Yeah, what I found really interesting as well is that a lot of people have told me they enjoyed the show, and interestingly, a lot of those people have been white.
Interesting.
And so I wonder if it sort of, in what I thought was its shortfalls, it made it broader.
Maybe, yeah.
And that's what you, one, want for BBC One.
Yeah.
And two, want in order, when you actually think of what the audience of BBC One is, like, all of the complexity and nuance that we might want is not going to necessarily translate to for everyone.
It made them ostracizing.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe there's scenes that were like much more nuanced that ended up on the cutting room floor because it was just like, let's just make this as simple as like, this is just a bog standard show about a musical family of musicians, and that's it. Like, it's very interesting because I pitched a show to the BBC when they picked this up, and they didn't pick it up, but my show, but they had said, oh, your show's very heightened, what we're doing with Champion is telling a really grounded family story. And watching it, one, there was a storyline that's very much exactly the same thing that happens in mine. So they should have just said that. That would have been more useful. Yeah. But in watching it, I was like, okay, it's definitely more grounded than my show for sure.
Oh, really? Yeah.
But I don't know if that makes it better.
Interesting.
I don't know if it makes it better. And I didn't buy, like I said earlier, I just didn't connect with that family unit. It wasn't a family unit I recognised.
No, I mean, I think there's the idea of some of the disconnectedness feels and can be relatable to some audiences. Some black audience, the disconnectedness of the family. They weren't very connected.
No, yeah.
And the divorce aspect, like, actually, to be honest, the fact that the parents spoke as divorced parents, I didn't relate to that. But I think the fact that they weren't as joined up, like, you don't see them having dinner at 7 p.m. on a Sunday night. Yeah, like that was quite relatable. Like, I remember our girly friend, she was like, yeah, we have her family all sat down to have dinner not every night, but it was
when she was growing up.
Yeah. And I was like, I cannot relate to that. Even at Christmas, we wouldn't sit around the table. We do now, but we didn't do it growing up. So there were some parts of that, the fact that they are all in the same household, but not necessarily all together, that I related to in terms of that family unit. But everything else is a bit like interesting.
But even to your point though, your family might not all sit around the table, but there are ways in which you guys connect, right?
True.
And I feel like this didn't have any ways was the problem. Like, I don't mind watching a show about a family that are not your conventional family, but you get to see the way that they are a unit.
Yeah.
They weren't a unit to me.
No.
I didn't see, like, the mum was proud of Vita at the end. Why has Vita had to earn your pride? She's been a team player the whole way up until this point.
But that is quite relatable. I think that's quite like for I was going to say, I'm going to generalize, but for some African families where it's like you have to prove your value.
But I feel like they didn't.
But that wasn't it wasn't explicit.
Yeah. I think you're right. That is really interesting. Yeah. But I don't think they got onto the surface of like what is going on for the mum that she can't just be happy with Vita, and also what is going on with Vita that she wants this person's approval so badly, right?
True.
Because the person has shown you throughout your life, whenever you've done something, they're not interested.
No.
It's Bosco or nothing.
Yeah.
At what point, what is interesting in that kind of dynamic is the point where either Vita decides, I don't care about what you think anymore. Yeah. I'm going to go off and do what I need to do. Or the point where the mum is like, I'm going to try.
Yeah.
But I think for that to happen, you need the intersection between like, why don't you like me, essentially? Like, what is it about me that you... And then they have that brief moment where the mum, in Jamaica, where the mum is talking about becoming a musician and the fact that she had to give it up and she's basically worried for her. But she didn't seem to like Vita before then.
No.
Maybe she was genuinely nervous that Vita showing the level of talent she had would mean that one of these days she's going to say she wants to be a musician and then the world will cheer her up and spit her out. Yeah. But that isn't what happens to her. No. So it was like, okay, that's your fear, but it's like completely irrational.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Anywho, how would you rate this season?
3.
I'm
giving it a 3 because I like the Jamaica episode, and I actually quite like the last episode when. Okay, because my last thing that was kind of annoying is Bosco behaves the same way from episode 1 until 8.
Yeah.
He is irrational and a nightmare the whole way through. And it got to maybe 5 or 6, and I was like, how much more of this?
Yeah.
Like, as an actor, you've got to give him something to do.
Yeah.
He has nothing to do, really. Apart from, he's either a mess or he's a loud mess. That's it. Those are only 2 things he's been. And I feel like the kidnapping the daughter and then, like, going to Birmingham for a bit and him getting back into his music suddenly changed the energy. A part of me was like, maybe it's because I've done too much reading about the thing, but, like, the sudden shift was like, he's either about to become much worse or this is, like he's pushing it all down right now so he can get through this and he's gonna explode later. Because you don't just do an about face. You're not just depressed for like 6 months and then suddenly like wake up one day and you're like, well, depression's over. I feel great. I feel fantastic.
I was very optimistic about his storyline, I'll be honest.
They didn't ever even name what he was experiencing.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. You have to guess, like, mental health. I just... You know,
but what does that mean?
Pressure. It meant there was no explicit mention.
And I think that would have been more interesting to explore, right? What is it like?
Panic attacks. I thought it was panic attacks he was having, things like that. I had no idea. But I think it's the fear of like, well, not the fear, because to be honest, if you're a good writer, one, if you're broaching these sort of topics, you either bring people who are experts in the field. If you do not have that experience, bring people who can help you consult. Like, okay, am I talking about the right things? Am I mentioning the right symptoms? Am I showing this in an authentic way? Because people actually suffer from this, and it's kind of a safeguarding thing. But you know,
yeah, it bothers me when people use mental health as a plot point or a thing to give their character some flavour and have no intention of saying anything about that thing or what that experience is like, other than, oh, we're going to see Bosco have panic attacks, but we're not going to see him do anything to stop the panic attacks, really. We're not going to address whatever the root of the panic attacks are. And then we're going to give him some good news, which is that his song is blowing up, and suddenly his mood's going to improve and he's not going to have panic attacks anymore. So what are we saying, that he's having panic attacks because he's not popular?
Because this will happen again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So what the hell are we doing here? Yeah, that bothers me. But otherwise, I'm going to give it a 3. Also, they cast the mum and Vita really well. They actually look like mum and daughter.
I was going to say, honestly, I had to Google. I was like, are they related?
They look like they are related, which is very weird.
I was going to give it like between 2.5 and 3 because I thought it was quite an average show. So average is 2.5. But I'll give it a 2.8 because I loved the way that the show was shot. I loved the Jamaican episode. It was nice to see this.
I love that episode.
I do love that episode. I love the music.
You love how it was directed, or? I
did like how it was directed, how it was written. I thought it was a good job across the board. And I also, I'm always in support of black shows on BBC that are doing something different.
Not the crime ones. Not the crime ones.
Not the crime ones. No, I'm not here for the crime ones, I'll be honest. I still have not watched Top Boy. So that will be happening very soon. I actually need to watch Top Boy.
Why?
Because
are you watching it to just say you've watched it, or are you watching because you're actually interested in watching it?
I think a bit of both.
I would say don't watch it then.
Well, my sister watched it like when she started watching it once the first season came out. And she was like, look, at the end of the day, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. That was her review. Sword
or sword?
Sword.
It's sword. Are you being serious? Or are you joking right now?
Sword. Oh crap! That's like people that say salmon. I say salmon. Okay, I say it properly. You live by the. Oh my god! I feel like I've said that before. You live by the sword. A sword, not sword. Oh my god!
Sword.
Swords, yeah.
No, sword.
Crap! I say swords.
Nobody says sword.
Shit. How do you spell it? SWORD?
It's sword. Have you been calling it sword your entire life?
Potentially.
That is so... How have I never heard you say that before?
Because I'm not really talking about swords, am I? Or swords. Anyway.
Keep this in the podcast. What do you mean sword? Do you pronounce Southwark, Southwark?
No. It's always Southwark. And also, yeah, I always support shows that are south side of that river. Tell them don't waste my time. On that note, what are we doing next week?
Second half of Married
at First Sight. Yeah, so we did the first part of Married at First Sight last week, which I hope you enjoyed. There will be more updates, so we are going to review the next batch of couples as well as any new storylines from our old couples as well. It is chaotic, as you would have heard from episode 1. And yeah, we have lived by the sword and we're not going to die by it.
We haven't lived by a sword. Nothing about the shows we've talked about today have anything to do with swords. Stop talking about swords. If anything, we live by the mic. What the hell?
And we're gonna mic drop out of here. This has been Scripts and Giggles with Shoshana
and Marnie.
Boom, mic drop.
Goodbye.
Oh my god.